You know that feeling when you're eating at a restaurant and someone at the next table is eating something that looks wrong? Well, imagine if that something was a foot-long armored sea bug that looks exactly like Darth Vader's helmet. And imagine if scientists had never seen it before. That's exactly what happened in Vietnam just 3 years ago. This isn't science fiction. This is real. And it's sitting on dinner plates right now. So here's what we're diving into today. We're exploring the discovery of Bathynomus vaderi. Yes, that's its real scientific name, a massive deep-sea creature that's rewriting everything we thought we knew about what's lurking in the ocean's darkest corners. But here's the scary part. We only found it because people started eating it. Picture this. It's March 2022 in Vietnam. University researchers are walking through a seafood market in Quy Nhon City, and they see something that makes them stop dead in their tracks. Sitting in a tank, very much alive, are these massive armored creatures that look like they crawled straight out of a Star Wars movie. These things are huge. We're talking over a foot long and weighing more than 2 pounds. That's bigger than most lobsters. But here's what really freaked out the scientists. The head. It's perfectly rectangular, with angular edges. The researchers bought 4 of these creatures, thinking they might be dealing with a known species. They were wrong. Dead wrong. When they sent specimens to Dr. Peter Eng at the National University of Singapore, he took one look and knew they had found something completely new to science. The guy literally said, "The face looks so much like Darth Vader that it just had to be named after the Sith Lord." And that's how we got Bathynomus vaderi. But here's where this story gets really unsettling. These creatures weren't caught by scientists on some deep-sea research mission. They were caught by commercial fishing boats, 50 miles offshore, in waters over 1,000 feet deep. The fishermen had been catching and selling them since 2017. For 7 years, people had been eating a species that science didn't even know existed. Let's talk about what these things actually are, because they're not just big bugs, they're living fossils. Isopods like this one have been crawling around the ocean floor for over 160 million years. Most isopods, think of the pill bugs in your garden, are tiny, maybe 2 inches long. But something happens to them in the deep sea. They become giants. Scientists call it deep-sea gigantism, and nobody really knows why it happens. These creatures just keep growing until they become the size of footballs. Here's the part that'll mess with your head. In the crushing darkness of the deep ocean, where the pressure is 1,000 times stronger than at the surface, these things don't just survive, they thrive. Bathynomus vaderi weighs over 2 pounds. That's big enough to wear a dog collar, but it's not even the biggest one out there. There's another species that can grow to almost 4 feet long and weigh nearly 6 pounds. Imagine running into that thing on a night dive. Here's what's really mind-blowing. These creatures can live for years without eating. Years. They have the slowest metabolism on the planet. But when food does show up, like a dead whale falling from the surface, they turn into eating machines. In 2019, researchers put a giant isopod in a lab and didn't feed it. Want to know how long it lived? 5 years. 5 freaking years. Without a single bite of food. When it finally died, they opened it up and found its stomach was completely empty. It had been running on biological fumes for half a decade. That's not an animal. That's a living nightmare machine. Now, here's where this story takes a dark turn. In Vietnam, these giant isopods are considered a delicacy. They're called bo bean, sea bugs. Restaurants serve them live, and people pay about $40 per kilogram to eat them. They taste like lobster apparently. But think about this for a second. These creatures reproduce incredibly slowly. They only lay a few hundred eggs at a time, compared to thousands for most sea creatures. The scariest part, The South China Sea, where these creatures live, is one of the least explored places on Earth. It covers over 1 million square miles and reaches depths of over 17,000 feet. But political tensions have kept most of it off limits to scientists. We have better maps of Mars than we do of this ocean. Scientists estimate that we've only explored about 0.001% of the deep ocean. That's not a typo. Less than 1,000th of 1%. We know more about the surface of the moon than we do about our own ocean floor. Just last year, researchers discovered seamounts, underwater mountains, taller than the Burj Khalifa. They found entire ecosystems around underwater volcanoes that no one knew existed. In a single expedition, they can discover over 100 new species. But here's the thing that keeps marine biologists awake at night. These ecosystems are disappearing faster than we can study them. Deep sea mining is about to start, harvesting the ocean floor for metals. Fishing nets are scraping the bottom, destroying habitats that took thousands of years to develop. Bathynomus vaderi is lucky. It was discovered before it went extinct. But how many species are we losing before we even know they exist? Think about it this way. These isopods have been down there for 160 million years. They survived mass extinctions, ice ages, and asteroid impacts. But they might not survive us. The commercial fishing that led to this discovery started in 2017. By 2025, the species was officially described by science. That's an 8-year window, from first harvest to scientific recognition. How many species have we wiped out in less time than that? Here's what really gets to me. The researchers who found this creature did it almost by accident. Less than 3% of ocean research funding goes to deep-sea exploration. We spend more money on space exploration in a single year than we've spent on deep-sea research in the last decade. The scientists who named Bathynomus vaderi called their research paper "The Dark Side of the Ocean." And that's exactly what this is. We're living on a planet where most of the surface is covered by water, and we have no idea what's living beneath it. These creatures exist in a world without sunlight, where the pressure would crush you instantly, where temperatures hover just above freezing, and where food is so scarce that evolution has created living nightmares just to survive. But here's the thing that haunts me about this whole story. We found Darth Vader's helmet in the deep sea. It's been down there for millions of years, waiting for us to find it, and we only discovered it because someone wanted to eat it. If a creature this massive, this distinctive, this impossible-looking could hide from science for millions of years and only be found because someone wanted to eat it, what does that say about everything else down there? What other living fossils are sitting in restaurant tanks right now, completely unknown to science? What other Darth Vader creatures are waiting in the abyss, wearing faces that look like they belong in our nightmares instead of our oceans? The deep ocean is Earth's final frontier, and we're running out of time to explore it before we accidentally eat it all.